Christian Horner's fall from Red Bull shook Formula One to its core. After more than 2 decades leading the team, the man who built an empire of 6 Constructors Championships and 8 drivers' titles was suddenly out, a dynasty builder, a paddock politician. One of the sport's most controversial characters, gone overnight. But in Formula One, no exit is ever final. And now the big question is simple. Where does Christian Horner go next? For some, the idea of him resurfacing at the FIA has been floated. But according to former Red Bull driver Robert Doornbos, that scenario is highly unlikely. Doornbos believes Horner is a team man through and through, someone who would prefer ownership or leadership within a squad rather than a bureaucratic role at F1's governing body. And honestly, that fits Horner's style. He's never been the type to sit quietly in the background. He thrives on power, confrontation, and influence. It's why his long-running war of words with Toto Wolff defined the 2021 season. It wasn't just Hamilton versus Verstappen on track. It was Wolff versus Horner in the paddock, trading jabs, shaping narratives, and turning Formula One into a full-blown psychological drama. Toto Wolff himself recently weighed in on the speculation. Asked about the possibility of Horner joining the FIA, Wolff laughed, but the subtext was clear. He said, "If he ends up in the FIA, I'm really in the Soustard. It was a joke, but behind the humor lies truth." Wolff knows how dangerous Horner can be when given political leverage. If the rivalry was brutal when Horner was across the garage, imagine if he was sitting inside the governing body. For now, that's not happening. The FIA will hold presidential elections later this year, with Mohammed bin Sulayem expected to secure a second term. Horner is not on the ballot. Instead, the general consensus is that his comeback will be as a team owner or principal, similar to Wolff's role at Mercedes. And that makes sense. It keeps him in the trenches, exactly where he likes to be. Wolff, though, hasn't pulled any punches in assessing his old rival. In a recent interview, he admitted, "For the last 12 to 15 years, Horner often behaved like an asshole. He operates with completely different values. Harsh words, but typical Wolff." Yet even he conceded that Formula One has lost one of its main characters with Horner's departure. Wolff even went as far as to compare Horner's significance to that of a legendary driver. Divisive, controversial, but undeniably central to the story of modern Formula One. And here's my opinion. Wolff is right on both counts. Yes, Horner could be ruthless, manipulative, even toxic at times, but he was also brilliant, charismatic, and fiercely competitive. Love him or hate him, he added color to the paddock. Without Horner, Formula One feels a little quieter, a little more sanitized, and maybe that's exactly why his return feels inevitable. Doornbos nailed it. Horner won't settle for politics. He'll want influence. He'll want a car. He'll want to shape another project to prove that his success at Red Bull wasn't just luck, or Adrian Newey's genius, or Verstappen's brilliance. He'll want to prove that he was the architect, and the timing couldn't be more intriguing. With 2026's new regulations on the horizon, Formula One is heading into another historic reset. New power units, new chassis, a wide open field for bold leaders. That's exactly the kind of environment where someone like Horner thrives. So where will we see him next? Not the FIA, not in a political office, but back where he belongs, which in the paddock, building, scheming, fighting, and clashing with old enemies like Wolff. Because say what you will about Christian Horner, he was never boring. He was never invisible. And Formula One, for better or worse, was always more dramatic, more entertaining, and more human when he was around.